as it is, right, in terms of the predicament that Andrew Holness found himself in, we are asking the Prime Minister to step aside and make the investigation flow freely. He's the subject of an investigation, and so, right, he needs to step aside and stop the interruption. Now, one of the things in terms of cleaning up corruption, we have to start from the head, from the political heads, right? Because if we can't clean the head, it doesn't make sense. What the corruption at the head is going to wag into the tail. So we have to make sure that we are cleaning, right, the head where the political order is.
Long time. That if you want to, in a sense, eliminate corruption in a society, and we all want to eliminate corruption in a society, the most effective way to do it is to make sure you don't punish people at the bottom, you punish people at the top. I'll tell you one story. In the 1960s, when Singapore was a very poor country then, our per capita income was 500. A government minister was invited by businessmen to go on holiday, just on holiday, no bride. He and his family went on holiday with a businessman. He came back, he was arrested, charged, went to jail. After that, no more corruption. Because it's a very powerful signal that is sent when you go after someone at the top. So Singapore's experience, and it's actually quite remarkable how you have almost zero corruption in Singapore, is because we decided that the example must come from the top.
People, right, could fight October 2nd, 2024, only one section of law governing illicit enrichment probe declared unconstitutional. This is crazy. People, I just can't believe that that would be even a thought in the Prime Minister's head. Right? The Prime Minister is telling us that he wants to operate a banana republic and should be allowed to do so. Only one section of law governing illicit enrichment probes declared unconstitutional. Unbelievable. The Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, has asked the Supreme Court to strike down a law used by the Integrity Commission to probe public officials for illicit enrichment. So, okay, you are not to be probed. You know, you and your minions, they are not to be probed. Calling it unconstitutional. Oh, my. A ruling in the head of government's favor could affect investigations into 8 parliamentarians. Yes, Andrew, we want to know who the 8 parliamentarians as it relates to illicit enrichment. So all of the hanky-panky what you do up your stuff, it don't make no sense. You understand? Because the court not going to allow that. You can tell her that plain. The court is not going to allow that. Holness also wants the court to gut unspecified provisions of the 2017 Integrity Commission Act, given the lack of fairness, impartiality, and independence in the exercise of the functions of the divisions and the commission as presently structured. No, not the same structure this Andrew Holness did use when Azan, right? When the contractor general pursue Azan. See the unfairness though. You being pursued now, it becomes a problem. You being pursued now, Andrew. You understand? You're talking about giving lack of fairness. What's that lack of fairness? What's that of lack of unfairness and impartiality? Right? Can you imagine? This is just crazy. Those 2 are among 21 declarations or orders that Holness is seeking in an application to the Supreme Court to have an IC investigation report into its financial affairs rejected as unlawful and unfair. 21 declarations. My God.
The sound is here, sorry.
Right? 21 declarations. right? The IC report dated August 30, 2024 was released by the House of Representatives on September 17th. Open quote, I believe that the tabling of the report was intended to embarrass and cause harm to me. Master, let me ask you a question, Andrew Holness. I want to ask you a question, Andrew Holness. Is it the Integrity Commission investigators, right, told you to do what you have done as it relates to what you have been investigated for? Did they encourage you? Did they influence you to do what you have done as it relates to what you are investigating for? You're talking about, I believe that the tabling of the report was intended to embarrass and cause you need to be embarrassed. You are based on the allegations. Based on the allegations, if they are true, you understand, it's a despicable act. And you need to be embarrassed. And you need to be put into the judiciary. And if found guilty, you need to be penalized and go to prison for it. As such was made for an improper purpose and it bad and in bad faith to prejudice an army. Now, let me ask you a question. If that done in bad faith to prejudice and harm you, let me ask you a question. Them ask you a simple question, Andrew Holness. The simple question what the Integrity Commission investigator they ask you, right? And let me put it in a layman terms. You have wealth that your income and liabilities cannot justify. Simple means your salary and any other income that you have cannot justify as it relates to the amount of wealth where you have. Now it's your responsibility, you know, to speak up to the source and to justify it, you know. So why you put this now on the Integrity Commission? Then have to answer no question. But no one to know. Then have to answer no question. You believe say okay. You are to illicitly enrich yourself, right? You are your friend them, and nobody enough to ask you no question. The day that the Integrity Commission is going to ask the question, you're going to come out with 21 declarations against them, right? Where you cannot have the statutory declaration certified. Mr. Andrew Holness, let me ask you a question. Why they cannot be certified? Right? That is the meat of the matter. The Integrity Commission investigators cannot certify your statutory declaration based on there is no justification as it relates to the amount of wealth you amass, where your income, another expense, income and liabilities cannot explain. Your income and your liabilities cannot explain your wealth. So what you want the IC to do? What you want the IC to do? Right? Alleging further that it sought to impute criminal and ethical conduct to me and other applicants. What you mean impute criminal and ethical conduct to me and other applicants? And let me tell you something, Mr. Andrew Holness. If all of the 8 have a problem in terms of their statutory declaration certified, then it's illicit enrichment. So then what? You don't want the IC to do them work? They ask a question. You don't want the IC to carry out them work. All of this what you say is garbage. Absolutely garbage. If you remember, say, you brought Zara Burton to court. You understand, when Zara Burton they investigate you, and you have lost the case because of them same foolishness you go on with, When you're back into a corner, you talk about lawyer and lawsuit. When you're back in a corner, the people of Jamaica want to know how the treasury have got under your administration. You want to say, okay, the donations what you get, right? Where you ring it through your charity foundation and you convert the money to your personal use. And the Integrity Commission never tell for you. I want to know. More answer me the question here. Eh? The donation that you have gotten, and we should link it through your charity foundation and have it converted to your personal use. Is it that the commissioner, the investigators, are they telling any lies on you? Mr. You out of order dictatorship this. A bad man government this. You don't want to hold on people. You understand, and take with them things. And that you know defend. And the sort of government they are defend. Bad man government. You understand, because you can do people things. And people don't answer no question. You can get rich. And the box of taxpayers. And taxpayers be silent and take it. My. The application by owners. This company Imperium Investment Holding Limited and related entities, Positive Media Solutions Limited and Positive Jamaica Foundation Limited, a charity for permission to seek judicial review, was filed on September 30. They are going to kick out this out of the court because this is a bonehead move. This is a bonehead move. You only tell people how much you are guilty. Eh? Why do you seek judicial review? To what? To stop FID from investigating? Eh? So what that saying? What is that saying to the public? What are you saying to the public? You are saying to the public that you don't want any probity. You don't want any probity. And then let me ask you a question. Why don't you want any probity if you know say you're innocent? You don't do nothing. The other 7 culprits them innocent. They don't do nothing. Then why you not step aside and make FID do them work? Right? And show John Public said all along, I like John Public a tell pound. But you can't do that. You can't do that. You are there to interrupt, there to block, there to pull out 21 declarations, right? And the hanky-panky where you're going with because, you know, one FID to investigate you. Well, Mr. Wallace, let me tell you something. You could have weep and holler like young pig. FID is going to investigate. The respondents are 2 senior executives of the Commissioner, Director of Information and Complaint, Greg Beresford, a decent people. Character you want to defame now, you know. I defame the people and character now, you know. Respondent and Director of Investigation, Kevin Stevenson, second respondent. Just imagine. Decent, uprighted citizen. You want to defame now. And the commission itself, third respondent. Owners want the court to reject the report as unlawful and unfair. Let me ask you a question. And owners, which part in the report unlawful and unfair? Let me talk to you. Let me ask you a question. Can you point it out? Which part in the report unlawful and unfair? You did not get the donation money. I lied about tell for you. You did not get the donation money. And you did not ring it through your charity company, right? And you didn't convert it to your own personal use. No, come on, man. Come on. So what you want to say? That the $500 million where you get from Beretta, $500 million where you get from Beretta. You understand? I like to tell you, you didn't get that. Eh? I want to know why the Integrity Commissioner investigated them so lie and I tell lie for Andrew. Eh? I want to know why they take a personal vendetta for Andrew. I hate Andrew so. I hate him so. You understand? For they tell lie for the man. You want to tell me, say,
So
You understand?
else who them report on is true then talk, but when they report on
yes,
a lie.
yes. But when the Integrity Commission investigators them report for any other person, right? I true the matter. I true the matter. I true the matter. But from once them start to have you upon their microscope, them are liar, them unlawful, them unfair, and you're acting unconstitutional. You do everything unconstitutional in the book by using your 49 members to rape the Constitution. Time and time you do this. Using your 49 members to rape the Constitution out of bright provision in the Corruption Prevention Act. The probe into alleged illicit enrichment, where one assets are disproportionate of earnings, grew out of its 2021 income filings that he submitted on time in March 22. You talk about March 21 and March 22. But tell them, say, if you go back from 2006 to 2009, and if you justify the $47 million, you talk about this. And this you talk about? No. Stephen said he flagged an unexplained growth of 1.9 million in owners declared assets of 2022. Additionally, this deposit and withdrawal transaction of 473 million and 427 million involving the named companies raised question. Me want to ask you a question about all of them something Andrew. Let me ask you a question. You raised ADMAT in 2008, Andrew. ADMAT does not have an account, and yet ADMAT buy your properties. How comes? Me want you, hey, that's what I'm telling you, Andrew. It is going to go back to 2008 because you have to tell we, the Jamaican people, how ADMAT does not have an account, and yet at the same time, ADMAT buy the property. May I ask him, where you get the money from? Eh? Where you get the money from for putting an ADMAT? 2008. Where you get the money from? Where you not come out and come answer this? Eh? Stevenson said he could not conclude the investigation, citing owner's refusal. No. Just imagine. The man asked you, this source of funds. Where you get the money from? Eh? And you refuse to answer. So then, Mr. Prime Minister, let me ask you a question. If you were able to justify your wealth, wouldn't you answer this question? Wouldn't you just simply answer to the source of your wealth, or you get the money? In a 2009, in the period 2007 to 2009, what was your pay? What was your pay, Andrew Wallace? Your pay was what? 5.5 million for the year. Let me tell the people in your business. Let me fling out your business. $5.5 million. Right? You are get. $5.5 million you are get. And yet you have $47 million. How do you justify that? Let me ask you the question. In a 2007 to 2009, you don't get $5.5 million. And yet in a 2016, that's how you come in at the politics with $47 million. Where you get it from, Andrew? Where you get it from, Andrew? Me want you tell the Integrity Commission investigator. More you go tell the court them. More you go tell the court. Say you come in to the politics with $47 million. Because you leave university in 1994. So all you take 2 years to amass $47 million. Eh? Anybody tell life on you, Andrew? However, only contended in the court documents that those conclusions are flawed. Flawed. And that the Director of Investigations collected evidence, analyzed it, made findings of fact, all while combining the roles of investigator, prosecutor, and judge. Can you look? There under no circumstances, this to show you say you're wicked and you lie. Because you're talking about the man, them actions now. You understand? Proceed to be investigator, prosecutor, and judge. Now, let me ask you a question. Did the Integrity Commission charge you? Did they charge you? So how you mean that they are being investigator, prosecutor, and judge. What do you mean by that? Eh? The man them not judge you. The man them ask you a question and you can't answer it.
You must seek clarification.
They are seeking clarification as it relates to your wealth that you amassed. He claimed that the probe into his filings for 2019-2022 was premised on what he believed is unconstitutional. Hey, let me tell you something, Andrew Honest. You're talking about 2019 to 2022. Eh? The Fed is going to go way back. So if you just shit about this, remember the water shit is going to come to your pants foot when Fed go 2007 to 2009. So if you're shit in your pants, when them go back to 2007 to 2009, that the water shit is supposed to come to your pants foot. You remember me tell you? The Corruption Prevention Act, Section 14 and subsection 5, outer order and bright, which outlines that a person who fails to satisfactorily explain their assets relative to their earnings commits the offense of illicit enrichment. Oh, you mean, then that must true. So at this section, you want to strike out. Eh? I still come like you take Jamaican people for idiot. The Corruption Prevention Act, Section 14, subsection 5, which outlines that a person who fails to satisfactorily explain their assets relative to their earnings commit the offense of illicit enrichment. So at this you want to strike out. So then,
right off into the sunset.
So then, the politician, you and your minions, them. You understand? You live on taxpayer back. You live in the treasury. And nobody enough ask you no question. You say your face is bright. A dictatorship, this, you know. Right, yes, sir. A dictatorship, you know. You're out of there, you know. You're out of there to even think about this. You understand? To show you, let me say it explicitly clear. Based on what I just read right now, you have criminal intent. Criminal intent. Let me read it over to show and expose the criminal intent. The Corruption Prevention Act, Section 14, subsection 5, which outlines that a person who fails to satisfactorily explain their assets relative to their earnings commits the offense of illicit enrichment. Why you don't believe in that? You don't believe in what outline, sir? You don't believe in these premises that's set in the Integrity Commission Act. That if you can't explain your wealth, you have a problem. Eh? You don't believe in this? Well, it's only somebody who corrupt, somebody who never signed the code of conduct who say something like this. Me don't know, you know, did you sign the code of conduct? If you don't sign it, then that's why you say this. He asserted that the provision should be struck down because among other things, it allegedly breaches the constitutional entitlement to the presumption of innocence by reversing the burden of proof onto an accused person who no area now, Papa Jesus. Now, let me tell you something. And that will show you how ignorant and daft you are. That when it comes to a felony, right? Of course, someone has to be treated innocent until proven guilty. But that is going to flip when you are a member of parliament and you have wealth where your salary cannot justify. Then it's simple. That's all the court want to establish. And let me tell you, because I know that you understand, fire them smooth steel and you think a cool breeze. The only thing that the court wants to find out, Mr. Honest, you need to explain your source of wealth. And if you can't explain it, you're going to be in a problem. Which, you know, look like you can. You have been given 3 years. 3 years. And now you can't justify. You cannot justify it to the Integrity Commission investigators. And obviously, you will not be able to justify it to fit. And so then you have a problem, Mr. Holmes. You are your minion. You understand? So the 8 persons for illicit enrichment where you are the primary. Let me say this to you. You in a problem. You in a bag of problem. Only state his lawyers have advised him that the section places a burden on me. You remember, like, look here, some infamy you want, you know, on pampas, you know. All will go on, always see after this a line that they tell us there. This a paragraph that tell us there. The Prime Minister want infamy and he want pampas. And what is something they were pushing at the beginning mouth? And he want pacifier. Infamy. What is a paragraph I talk about? Only studies lawyers have advised him that the section places a burden on me to prove an essential element of the offense of illicit enrichment. That is the wealth element. Well, what is a paragraph I tell us say? That Andrew Holness want pacifier, infamy, and pampas.
But it's
no.
His lawyers are advising him correctly because they're telling him now that the burden of proof is on him to prove
exactly.
that he is innocent.
Exactly. However, he said the problem is compounded by the fact that the respondents already had the sum that I was required to explain, but failed to disclose it to me so that I could adequately respond or cause representation to be made on my behalf to resolve the matter. Oh, year
after 3 years.
After 3 years. Oh, year. I want joke at this. I joke at this, yeah. In its annual report for 2023 to 2024, released in July, the IC revealed that 8 lawmakers were being probed for illicit enrichment, 2 more than the previous year. Take that away, honey. Take that away. Now, just imagine, my Jamaican people, when I think that it could get any worse, you understand? You know who jump out and I defend him? The person who jump out and I defend him, the Prime Minister, is none other than the Deputy Prime Minister, right? Who landed on a WikiLeaks report. You understand where WikiLeaks they accuse him of drugs and gun transshipment. So then what you expect? What do we expect? When you have the Deputy Prime Minister, you understand, who WikiLeaks accused in drugs running, right? And other illicit behavior. Let us, don't waste any time. Let us show the people, right? Jamaica Greener. Chang justify call for review IC legislation. And that, because what? Nobody enough investigator now. Well, me I want tonight. Now, dear people, look at this worthlessness. And this is why we talk about, you understand, this Andrew Holness and his administration. Right? We need to see the back of them. Chang justified thoughts for a review of IC legislation. Right? It is normal, said Dr. Chang, for periodic assessment to be done and amendments made as needed. We have a record of passing legislations, but also reviewing them in time to make them more effective. No, in time to make them what? More friendly. You understand, to your activities. You understand, to your to the administration criminal activities. We don't want to soften it, to make it more friendly, and to take ambiguity out of them. What kind of ambiguity out of them? We don't want to take checks and balance out of them. We can read it properly. You know. It is checks and balance them want to take out of them. No ambiguity. We know we are not perfect. Yet we're not perfect. You know that you're not perfect. And no one is perfect. So nobody is trying to diminish the Integrity Commission. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. That's exactly what you are trying to do. You and your administration, right? Where Andrew Holness is leading the campaign against the Integrity Commission. You understand? Because of what? Because of what? Because he's been investigated. All we are saying is we look at the legislation and see if it is really right. What do you mean really right? What about the legislation is wrong? What about the legislation is wrong? Why not point them out? Why not point them out? That the judgment I will not give you from a platform. Yeah, because you know, say damn blasted, you understand, tricky, devious, like an artist. You understand? Now, let me talk to you, because I'm not touch all of SSL yet, you know. You understand, Mr. Richard? Nigel Clark going to the House of Parliament and tell lie. Oh, X amount of people get back their money. All of them something there. When Nigel Clark lie, Nigel Clark telling the Parliament, right? Talking about 80% of the people in a SSL get back their money. All of that a lie, Nigel Clark telling them. All right. He cited reviews of Firearm Act at the Modernized Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organization Amendment Act 2021. Come on, we call the anti-gang legislation as example to prove its point. All we are saying is just look at the law as it stands and we leave that to them. No, that's why we don't want no impeachment. Eh? We don't want no impeachment. We don't want to be impeached. But no have no, you know, the moral aptitude is so lacking. Right? No ethics. Your ethical responsibility is gone, is missing. Right? He added last week, the Prime Minister also called for a review of laws governing the IC to prevent the entity from being politicized. No. Let me ask this question. Boy, I just, you know, so I'm sorry for the IC. People, I'm not lie. I'm sorry for the IC. The predicament of the IC, you know. All what the IC are doing are them working on. The IC are carry out them working. You understand? It won't seem as if the IC tell this man have to go do what him do. It won't seem as if it is the IC who tell them to go respond, to get involved in them corruption. You understand what I deal with? No. I ask Jamaican people this question. When you don't hear them a revelation, you don't really go vote for any one of them. No, me want to ask every Jamaican, seeing them revelation, are you going to vote for any one of them? You don't want to checks and balance. Eh? These are criminal-minded people who only made the recommendation in a personal statement to Parliament after the IC's probe into his statutory declaration for the year 2019-2022 because the IC not a probe. The IC shouldn't probe. Right? And if the IC probe, the IC should have just look, you understand, and see the wrongdoing and keep them out silent and not say nothing. You know see what they go on, people? You know see the slackness what they go on here? Along with the ruling of the IT Director of Corruption Prosecution, we're tabling in the House. The ICDCP concluded that there was not enough evidence that owners deliberately sought to mislead the IC when he failed. You see the corruption prosecutor. You see the corruption prosecutor, Prince Kamika. Yeah? Let me tell you something, you know. Let me just reserve my opinion about you. Right? About you. Now, while the ICDCP concluded that there was no unexplained growth in the Prime Minister's wealth when his assets and liabilities for the year 2021 were examined, note was made of what happened to be unexplained growth in a company set up by owners. The report said the company's net worth of just over 1,930,000 cannot without more be justified by known income and liabilities. Now, let me tell you something. Prince Kamika, you may talk. You understand? You just stay to back until FID done them investigation. You understand me, deal with? Yes. According to the investigation report, the DI was hindered in his attempt to fully resolve the issue on the basis of owner's refusal. See that? So then let me ask you a question, Mr. Owens. Why you refuse to answer the necessary questions being asked about the wealth that you amass? Eh? Why you refuse that? And then you want to put everything on the Integrity Commission as if, you know, they are not fair, right? Them partial, them biased. You understand? They are acting unconstitutional. No, this is really upsetting to really think of it. While I have not had a chance to fully review the specifics of their calculation, just on a cursory review, I have seen an error in figures they have used in their calculation. He said then. Now let me tell you something. You talk about 2021. I tell you, Andrew. Spin is going between the period 2007 to 2009. You have to tell the Jamaican people how much get them money there to buy up the properties them. Where you get them money there from? You talk about 2021. Eh? We now make, look here. Don't try to distract the investigation, because we are not going to only focus on the 2021. So the argument around the 2021, let me tell you from now, we don't go back as way back between the window 2007 to 2009.
Welcome back to another video.
Mr. Chuck, and surely people do know that if you're going to be investigating accounts sometimes and investigating transactions, it's something that often takes several years. So on the one hand, we're hearing the commission criticize for the length of time it's taken. And then on the other hand, we're hearing people saying, you know, how you never done.
So exactly, Beyond. They have an MOU with the FID from 2021. They could easily have asked the FIU instead of some international experts to assist them with the investigation. But they wait until they submit the report to send it to the FID. And the FID is like to continue investigation right up to after the general election. Is that fair to the government and the Jamaica Labour Party that you should be asking the FID to investigate something that could have been done before you table the report? To me, it doesn't make sense, and that is why we don't support the matter going to the FID. That could take, as you're quite right to say, years before it comes to a conclusion. And in fact, suppose the FID, did they give the FID a timeline that we ask you within a month or 3 months to report? And if the FID did, in fact, come back and report within 3 months, then there's nothing there. Is it going to ask the FBI and the Interpol to do further investigation? I mean, this to my mind, we have provided the IT with enough resources to do all your investigations. And it seems to me, and I'm very, very, very concerned that with all the money we have provided the IC to do its investigation, it sends a report to Parliament that is incomplete.
Take him away.
I'm very disappointed.
Take him away. I don't want to hear nothing from this. I don't know what to class him. Take him away. Right? So, okay, you're spending, as according to you, you're spending all of this money, you understand, on the Integrity Commission, right? To investigate other people, but not your government. From the moment that they are going to investigate in your government, they should come under that scrutiny. You understand? That is what you're saying. Now, let me ask you a question. Where in the Integrity Commission Act? I want to ask you a question. One name again? Delroy Chuck. I want to ask you a question, Delroy Chuck. Where in the Integrity Commission Act that tell the Integrity Commission investigators that they have to call in FID at the beginning of their investigation, or the middle of their investigation, or near the end of their investigation? You want to come out and show the people where that is in the Act, because that is not in the Act. You understand? the Integrity Commission investigators can call in FID or any respective member who, you understand, can do the investigation, right? At any time, the Constitution, the law give them that authority. They can call them in at any stage. So there, Chuck, you need to get that in your head.
This is dated October 2nd, 2024, and it's law amended to facilitate membership of DPP on Rules Committee of Supreme Court. So they're positioning themselves from early. The House of Representatives on Tuesday, October 1, passed the Judicature Rules of Court Amendment Act 2024, which will facilitate membership of the Director of Public Prosecutions on the Rules Committee of the Supreme Court. The legislation was piloted by Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck. In his remarks, Mr. Chuck said the promulgation of the Judiciary Rule of Court Act 1961 resulted in the establishment of the Rules Committee of the Supreme Court, which has the function of making rules of court that regulate and prescribe the procedure and the practice that is to be followed in the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. He stated that the Rules Committee currently consists of the Chief Justice, the President of the Court of Appeal, a judge of the Supreme Court designated by the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, the Director of State Proceedings, and 5 attorneys at law in private practice that are appointed by the Minister of Justice on nomination by the Bar Council. Quote, based on this legislative prescription, it is important to note that the holder of the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has been excluded from the membership of the committee, Mr. Chuck said.
All right. Now, Mr. Delroy Chuck, you want to put the DPP Paula Llewellyn, right? R. Thompson, right, on your on the Rules Committee. You know the reason, you know. You know the reason. The reason because, guess what? They are there to protect the criminal status quo of the Jamaica Labour Party. We're going to show you evidence tonight. We are going to show you evidence. They are there. So having either Paula or Thompson, right, on the Rules Committee, you guarantee that, okay, all right, it's a vote where to support, you understand, the criminal status quo of the Jamaica Labour Party. No, that's a bad move. So let us show you, right, why the reason why you're drafting for Paula Llewellyn. Now, I am going to play a clip to show the entire world as it relates to Paula Llewellyn biasness. The reason why I'm going to play the clip is for people to understand Paula Llewellyn awareness, knowledge of the law. We have seen where Jamaica Labour Party, members of parliament and affiliates, whenever they make any breach, 2 things being executed by the corruption prosecutor and the DPP: statute of limitation and abuse of process. Now, why you think I am going to play this clip is to show you that Paula Llewellyn really knowledgeable. And if she knowledgeable about statute of limitation and abuse of process, then why you don't act expeditiously, right? Why you don't act, right, in terms of working with investigators, right, to make sure that you have a solid case in having the evidence and proceed in a timely manner to execute and make sure that, okay, you still stay within the guardrails of not breaching statute of limitation or abuse of process. Why have you not done that? But Paula, we hear you at the seminar, you know, the brags, you know, on the talk about financial crime, and I tell we that the prosecutor and the investigators need to work together. So then if the prosecutor and the investigators need to work together, where are you as it relates to Andrew Holness, you understand, and with the contracts that were awarded? Where were you in those early days? You came in 2008 and could execute. So where were you? The crime period was 2006 to 2009. So you sit down, relax and wait, but without any delay, let me show the people what you are saying. Right? And where you are acting to the contrary when it comes to Jamaica Labour Party administration. Out of one side of his mouth, out of one side of her mouth, is saying that the prosecution and the investigators need to work together to solve a case. And when it comes for Paula Llewellyn to do that, Paula Llewellyn take care of herself. Wanna come listen to her. People wanna come listen to Paula. Yeah. Play.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all distinguished participants, distinguished presenters. Young man, the only thing you forgot was Paula Vanessa Llewellyn. I love my middle name. I think that this conference has come at a very good time in our history. And of course, we know the big elephant that is in the room, but none of us here should be intimidated by it, because it's a conference like this that helps to reaffirm, reassure all of us that we are capable. And one of my favorite phrases, that after this conference, our testicular fortitude will be further entrenched to meet the challenges. Now, prosecuting financial crimes, I understand I have about 20 minutes, so I'm going to go through quickly. Okay. Who is the prosecution? The prosecution means not just the prosecutors who appear in court, but includes persons such as police officers and other state officials connected with the investigation and conduct of the case against the accused person. And this was reformulated by Mr. Justice Panton in the Jamaican Court of Appeal in a case involving a police officer as the accused, Harry Daly, and the Queen. So it means that even though the investigator may think, this information here that I've gathered, this statement, this video, this CCTV reel, it's not relevant. If the prosecution does not disclose it at a later date, that non-disclosure after a conviction in the Court of Appeal and the Privy Council, we can pay the penalty for it and the conviction will be quashed. So we are joined at the hip, the investigator and the prosecutor, to make the prosecution. So we have prosecutors being the clerk of courts in the parish court, prosecutors in the DPP's office, Crown Counsel. We have prosecutors with state agencies like MOCA, FID, Integrity Commission, and we have any external attorney who has a fiat from me to prosecute. Now, how does the prosecutor prosecute? It is a wise and prudent prosecutor who makes sure that, especially in technical cases, you have case collaboration and case consultation with the investigator. It is an even more intelligent, astute, and wise investigator who makes sure that they never, ever subjugate their common sense to that demon ego. And excess of ego will neutralize common sense, because ultimately, even if you gather all the evidence that you believe is relevant, if certain things are
it is a wise and prudent prosecutor work in collaboration with the investigator to successfully prosecute a case. Well, people, Paula Llewellyn brags about her testicular fortitude. Let us test Paula Llewellyn's testicular fortitude in this case that I'm going to present. Without, I'm going to show people, I'm going to show people that Paula Llewellyn is saying that when it comes to certain cases, particularly high-profile cases, right? The prosecutor and the investigator must work at the hip, work together, and ensure that they put the case together, right? And work in a collaborated way. Let us test her testicular fortitude. All right. Come on, people. Look at test Paula Llewellyn's testicular fortitude. This is what the paper is saying. The Gleaner. Too late to charge NWC president and his wife. This published Thursday, January 11, 2024. Right? Here, Paula Llewellyn said it's a prudent prosecutor. So should we say, after we finish read this, that Paula Llewellyn is saying that she's not prudent? All right, we can move on. President of the State-owned National Water Commission, NWC, Dr. Mark Barnett, and his wife, Annette, appear to have escaped criminal prosecution over alleged breaches of an environmental permit for their St. Andrew Development Project. That's why I don't want Paula Llewellyn, you understand, as it relates to sit on the committee, the Rules Committee. A ruling by the country's prosecutorial authority noted that allegations of irregularities made against the Barnetts supports the laying of criminal charges against them. Hold on. I know we have said that, you know. Paula Llewellyn has said this, you know. Let me read it over. This is what Paula Llewellyn is saying. A ruling of the country's prosecutorial authority noted that allegations of irregularity made against the Barnett supports the laying of criminal charges against them. But here are conjunction now. We should know that both is a conjunction. Said, the passage of time has made the case statute bar. So then, Paula Llewellyn, let me ask you a question. Why you never use up your testicular fortitude? Knowing that you and the investigator should have worked together and know that if they take too long, the case is going to statute bar. But you wait conveniently until such time, then you now come out and said, yes, they have regularity. Yes, and you support the laying of charges. But, said, the passage of time has made case statute bar. A case is statute bar when the time frame stipulated in law for it to be placed before the court has expired. I only show the corruption. Now, you have been questioned about your behavior, Paula Llewellyn. Right? People are fed up with your behavior. You have your prosecutorial counterparts who are fed up with you and challenge you as it relates to your benefit. Right? And of course, obviously, trying to protect the Jamaica Labour Party administration corruption status quo. Now, let us get into this matter again. Paula Llewellyn, Mystic Sensation, is still testing your testicular fortitude. Let us see how your testicular fortitude works in the next case. Yes, so after Nigel Clark tell you a lie that the FBI is investigating use of taxpayer money and get crawl. And so then crawl and FID done their investigation. The expert that the Jamaica Labour Party administration seek to come in and do their investigation, but they did not cover up the investigation. They recommended charges for who to be charged. But Nigel Clark and Paula Llewellyn, right, sits on the report and doesn't want it to be published. Doesn't want Jamaican people to know about who are the persons and crawl recommended to be charged. So this is the height of corruption, and this is why Delracho, you want Paula Llewellyn to sit on the Rules Committee. Let me bring it out for the people and show the people of the corruption. DPP Llewellyn, Clark trade words with Golden and SSL fraud probe. Now people make a read tonight. Mid a clash of words between opposition leader Mark Golden and finance and the public service minister Dr. Nigel Clark, the old hypocrite, over the perceived slow pace of the ongoing probe into the multi-billion-dollar fraud at Stocks and Security Limited SSL. The Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, Paula Llewellyn, has said her office cannot sacrifice now accuracy on the altar for expediency. But tell you, the woman I know. I tell you how conveniently she used the law in supporting who she needs to support. How biased she is. Now, sacrifice accuracy on the altar of expediency. You never consider that in a Vibes Cartel case. Did you consider that you need to be accurate over expediency in a Vibes Cartel case? No, you never consider that. Even when you establish that you was a tampered jury, you said, "Damn driver." You said, "Damn driver." Don't stop at all. Even when you get and no say there's a tampered jury in a driver in a Vibes Cartel case, what you say to the driver? What you say to the judge? "Damn driver, don't stop at all." Here you come now. Here you come now because the big man involved in this, Andrew Wallace have your account in this. But since Andrew Wallace have your account in this, hear what you have to say yourself? Paula Llewellyn has said her office cannot sacrifice accuracy on the altar of expediency. Big old dirty hypocrite. In fact, Llewellyn said her office reserves the right to make an independent assessment of the case in a timely manner. So then why you never do it in a Vibes Cartel case? Eh? You see, you're a big old dirty hypocrite. She underscored in a statement on Friday that her office is still awaiting outstanding documents from the Financial Investigation Division FID. This is a big lie, people, no go stop. When they tell you it's a big lie, this is a big lie. Make a reason, people. FID and Crawl had done their investigation and completed it. Members of Crawl are the forensic expert. You understand? So then now, Paula Llewellyn, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me fix sensation ask you a question. So are you saying to us right here that you are more financial expert than Crawl and FID? Because Crawl is the financial expert. Crawl is the forensic expert. So if Crawl and FID complete the investigation, why you ask them for more document for? Tell me why you ask them for more document for when you get a comprehensive report. Therefore, it cannot make a ruling in cases of this nature without the file being completed. The file completed and sent to your office. The file already completed, Paula, and sent to your office. Though we understand and share the concerns of all well-thinking members of the public to hold criminal offenders to account in financial crimes. We cannot sacrifice accuracy and quality preparation and the altar of expediency, declare Nolan, because what? You know what? The people them know who involved with the people them money in a SSL. SSL wasn't doing any investment. Obviously, people are get, we see some people, they get returns from them investment. You know what? Come tell me how that go parallel, right? And only Andrew Lawless get return for investment, you know. Although I'm not talk the part there, you know, and only Andrew Lawless get return for return on his investment, you know. And no investigator, no question cluster, you know. Even when the wealth advisor said, look here, it is cluster, tell me what he said. No, cluster, no question. And you don't run up in a seminar to talk about your testicular fortitude. When you don't use a testicular fortitude upon this. Our comments followed accusation by Golden that the DPP's office has been dragging its feet. Yes, brother Golden. Yes, Mark. Yes, Mark, you're right. The DPP, they're dragging foot. The DPP dragging its feet on the case. Mark Golden is right. In completing his budget debate presentation outside Garden House on Tuesday following a walkout by the government members, Golden questioned the lack of information from the DPP office on the case. Him sit down on it, Mark. Mark Jean, sit down on it. She sit down on it. You understand? She don't want to reveal the nasty corruption. You understand? Between Nigel Clark, Andrew Lawless, and you Prosperi. I know bull can get back on get back in money. I now run out in the media. They tell the media on give about 80% of the SSL investors back their money on a lie. Nobody no get back no money. Like a wicked. Jean and Pantan, a former employee at the SSL, is the only person to have been charged in relation to the multi-billion-dollar fraud probe. No, Nigel Clark said he's not going to leave any stone unturned. He not even look on them. He not even look on the stone that moment. You understand? Nigel Clark said he's not going to leave any stone unturned. And he don't look on one of the stone. No, he might lift up on God, left the problem. Nigel Clark, they get up, they lift up and run, left the problem. You understand? After I tell the people them line, they go give back the people them their money, you know. No, but not give back no money. Wicked and lie, man. Wicked. Jamaica's iconic global track star, the Honorable Usain Bolt, and many other innocent investors were carried down in the scandalous SSL fiasco, and we can't hear anything about charges being brought against the responsible culprits. Let me slap them with the last clip for the night to show the corruption at the epicenter of the corruption. I am going to show tonight. Because this is a man about broader than sharpshooter. And this is a man that they dare not to touch him. Because this is the man who set the order of the day. They only show the Jamaican people the corruption we don't involve in. You get me? You understand? This other thing that I'm going to show. You can't touch him.
Okay, all right.
Because him back broader than sharpshooter. So you can't touch him. And yet, the crime is so plain, so explicit. This shamed the Jamaica Labour Party administration. First, before I play this clip, I want to big up Teach Them, right? Because this is a Teach Them presentation. Teach Them had done his hard work on it, so I'm just using the clip for reference, right? And I, you know, when Teach Them present something, you know, so it's well presented from Teach Them. So Teach Them, big up yourself, people, right? Can go over and support Teach Them channel same way because, you know, teach them do quality work. You understand? And we love that. But let us play this clip. You understand? From Teach Them. You understand? Showing the epicenter of the criminality and the corruption in the Jamaica Labour Party administration. Look at this. So I want to know if the DPP not aware of this case, and if the DPP is not going to use our testicular fortitude in this case.
It was emerged in late April that attorney at law Patrick Bailey had been suspended from practice by the General Legal Counsel. After being found guilty of professional misconduct, it came as no surprise to many. As to say that Mr. Bailey has had a checkered past would be greatly understating it.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
In this latest checkmark against the attorney, the GLC made a disclosure that the order, which took effect on the 13th of April, was made by a panel of its disciplinary committee after hearing evidence of a complaint brought against Bailey by one Melissa Golding. The GLC said Bailey was ordered to make restitution to Golding in the sum of 190,000 Jamaican dollars and cost of $20,000 to her, as well as $20,000 to the GLC. The council also said that Bailey is not entitled to practice until restitution is made. This, however, isn't the attorney's first involvement in questionable situations, as he was arrested on Monday the 30th of March 2015 and charged with fraud. Information surrounding that case is that on September 15, 2007, a report was made to the police that Mr. Bailey was asked to act on behalf of a client in a property transaction. The property, valued at 25 million Jamaican dollars, was however allegedly transferred to another person without the owner's knowledge and consent. As a result, the police commenced the investigation and Bailey was subsequently arrested and charged. Bailey went on a trial for fraud in 2017 after he was accused of defrauding St. Catherine businessman and land developer Stafford Dixon in a land deal. Prosecutors alleged that between 1995 and 1997, Mr. Bailey sold a 22-acre property in St. Catherine on behalf of Mr. Dixon. The land was developed into a housing scheme, but according to Mr. Dixon, he did not benefit from the sale. Mr. Dixon testified that he did not authorize the transfer of the property and that this was done by the attorney without his consent. In 2007, Mr. Dixon had filed a lawsuit against Bailey, seeking to recover $90 million he said was owed to him. Mr. Dixon claimed he should have received $105 million from the sale of the property, but only received $16 million from Mr. Bailey. He claimed the attorney reneged on a consent agreement signed in December of 2007 to pay over the balance of the money. Mr. Bailey had denied the allegations. In June of 2018, Bailey was freed of fraud-related charges in the case and was acquitted of conspiracy to defraud in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court after the presiding judge ruled that there was no case for him to answer and upheld a no-case submission by his legal team. In making her ruling, the judge said there was no evidence of any conspiracy by Bailey and that the evidence of the complainant has been shattered beyond repair. Bailey, who was arrested and charged after the elderly Dixon complained to police investigators that he hired the well-known attorney to handle a land transaction and a joint venture housing development. However, according to the allegations, the project failed and Bailey forged a transfer certificate that caused Dixon to lose his 22-acre property and having to pay his prospective business partners over $28 million. After being acquitted, Mr. Bailey then filed a lawsuit seeking millions in damages against 4 defendants, including the government. The defendants were real estate agent Stafford Dixon, who was the complainant in the case against him, head of the fraud squad Superintendent Anthony McLaughlin, clerk of court Shanna Ormsby, and the Attorney General. Bailey explained that the clerk of court was sued for misfeasance because of the way the case was handled and suggested that the clerk did not seek guidance from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Bailey was seeking damages against all the defendants for malicious prosecution, as well as special damages of $2.5 million. He was seeking damages against Superintendent McLaughlin and the Attorney General for false imprisonment. Bailey also sought aggravated damages.
It was Bailey's contention that from the time he was arrested and charged to the time of his acquittal, he suffered anxiety, mental and emotional distress, sleep disturbance, loss of appetite, social withdrawal, demotivation, and demoralization. Bailey, who had been an attorney since 1977, said the incident had adversely affected his law practice. No, I am not certain how the lawsuit ended, as my research found nothing in relation to a ruling in that case. However, the most bizarre incident in relation to Bailey occurred on the 30th of September 2016, when the body of 51-year-old Jermaine Jr., also called Gully, was found with bullet and multiple stab wounds at Mr. Bailey's Barbican Road residence. Bailey reported to the police that Jr. was living at his residence for some time, and he found him dead in his living room. The cops recovered a spent shell and a knife at the scene. Mr. Jr. was found with more than a dozen stab wounds and a gunshot to the head in Bailey's living room. Police reports had stated that Mr. Bailey stumbled upon Jr.'s body about 4:30 a.m. that morning. The knife reportedly used to stab him was found beside the body. The police also said that there were no signs of forced entry to the premises. Incredibly, Bailey was almost immediately ruled out as a suspect and placed on bed rest by his doctor and client, Jepta Ford. Bailey had reportedly exhibited signs of being unwell after the murder, and Ford instructed that he should be confined to bed and told the police that he was not fit to give a statement at the time. The statement came approximately 2 weeks after the body was discovered. Our orders after consultation, he is not able to give a statement or to meet anybody at this time because of the delicacy of his condition, Dr. Ford said at the time. Ford further stated that Bailey was exhibiting signs of stress and that his condition was being monitored. He said that if Bailey's condition worsened, he would be hospitalized. Ford further stated that Bailey suffered a stroke in November of 2007 and that he suffers from slurred speech and a little bit of incoordination. The doctor said that by ordering Bailey to stay in bed, he was actually trying to prevent him suffering another stroke. We were hoping that everybody will understand and cooperate, he said. We fear that if not properly managed, we could end up with a situation that we certainly don't need, Ford said. Now, in February of 2019, 2 men were held in connection with Junior's murder, but were later released. An email correspondence from the police said that Junior's killing had been linked to the Umbrella Gang, which operates mainly in Newlands, Portmore. In the matter of Jermaine Jr., investigations to date have discovered several leads, which, when explored, have proven futile. Statements have been recorded from Mr. Patrick Bailey, at whose home the incident took place, as well as a relative of Mr. Jr. It is theorized that members of the Umbrella Gang, which operates in the Portmore area, may have committed the murder. 2 persons linked to that gang were taken into custody and subsequently released, because there was no physical evidence or eyewitness linking them to the scene. Their fingerprints were taken, but did not match those from the scene, the JCF email said. The JCF email further stated that Mr. Patrick Bailey was interviewed a second time in May of 2018, based on information gleaned by investigators. The outcome of that session had not significantly impacted the investigation, the email read. The deceased was said to be a caretaker of the premises, something his family has since denied. Now, a relative of the deceased man told the Jamaica Observer in 2017 that Bailey and Junior became close after the attorney represented Junior in a court matter more than 20 years ago. The relative explained that Junior was shot multiple times by the police in Old Pasture, St. Andrew, after they received a report that a robbery had occurred in the area. The police believed they had matched the description given in the report. The relative said a lawsuit was filed, which Junior won. The relative said that the two developed a friendship and noted that Junior, who had become a United States citizen through marriage some years later, would occasionally visit Jamaica, then return to the US. He was visiting when he was murdered. Meanwhile, in February of 2021, the police said they had not closed their probe into Junior's murder. In an update on the case on Monday, the 1st of February, at a police press conference, Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of crime, Fitz Bailey, said the probe into the killing is ongoing. Well, the matter of Junior's murder case is ongoing. It is not yet closed, but the truth is we go by the evidence, and I don't think we have adequate amount of evidence to advance a criminal.
Well, let me say that let me say this to Jamaican people. As long as Andrew Holness is the Prime Minister of Jamaica, that case into Bailey is going to be ongoing. And it will never resolve under the administration of Andrew Holness. It will never, ever resolve. And I want to ask the DPP, right, that obviously, if the DPP is not going to work in collaboration with investigators to solve that case, right, to solve that case. And so then these are some sort of corruption that going on, which is explicitly clear to Jamaican people as it relates to how this administration corrupt the criminal justice system as it relates to the prosecutorial arm and the investigation arm. So the DPP, right, not moving on this case. And of course, we have seen now that Bailey has resigned and nothing done about this case. And as long as Andrew Holness being the Prime Minister of Jamaica, this case will never resolve.